Fiddlesticks banned out because of game one, and actually that's an unusual thing. That's not something we typically see anymore since the fear nerfs. Fiddlesticks not a very popular champion anymore, but apparently too scary for this situation. And they're actually taking quite a long time thinking about this next one.
Yeah, they should not do that because we get to turn the lights off when the camera's not on. But they should hurry up. But yeah, we do see Ziggs as the last ban here out of 7 auras. Yuri did a great job. Yeah, he did a great job in that last game. We're just going to continue right along. And that last game with the Ziggs ultimates as well. He's picked up quite a few kills, helped steal away red buff a couple of times. He had some great placement on his satchel charges, did a fantastic job overall. So it looks like they don't want to go up against that. But Lyon can take away Elise. Yeah. They don't want that.
One of the actual key factors that was shifting some of the skirmishes was the Ziggs bomb. For instance, that turnaround when there was that Orianna ultimate, 7 was trying to follow up into the enemy jungle. They got caught in the Ziggs bomb, they got caught in the Rumble ultimate, they got caught in the Thresh ultimate. If you can ban out Ziggs, generally it's a good idea because he is an incredibly strong presence in every possible way.
And there's still a lot of other champions available right now. I mean, for instance, Mundo's still there, Siobhan is still there. Every AD carry is still available to be played, as well as quite a few junglers. I don't know, what are Summer's going to prioritize here? They did go with Tristana for SN game number 1. I would imagine they're not going to go for that this time, but we're going to see Yasuo. He hasn't been too successful today.
It's an
I want to see how they can work with it.
It's one of those weird ones where Yasuo, even when he gets picked into good matchups, tends to seem to lose the game in my weird experience, because I keep seeing him up against Gragas. He destroys Gragas in a pure one-on-one sense, but the thing is Yasuo pushes up and he doesn't have reliable escapes unless he's got minions. If he's pushed up, he's not going to have any minions, so he ends up getting ganked into oblivion. Then you end up with a very, very strong team fight presence Gragas.
Well, we did have Renekton actually scraped by the bans, was banned out both the first and the second game, and it's going to be picked up right away for Porky, as well as Thite going for Vice, who's taking away the jungler that 7 wars used, and forcing Crow to play something he might not necessarily be comfortable on.
Well, again, I don't actually think that's that important of a thing to... Ooh, hello. Okay, so stealing away the Vi, I don't think Crow was that comfortable.
Yeah, he didn't really seem to play that well. I'm not sure. I mean,
it was things like
he was always top.
Yeah, he ganked top a lot. He did, for instance, try the Vault Breaker into Flash maneuver, which is a very, very difficult thing to execute, but it enables you to do the same thing as Gragas Body Slam. It's just way faster. You have to really be on point. He screwed it up. He didn't do it. He missed, wasted his flash. That was actually before the pink ward, and he got caught.
Now this is interesting. We see Kayle being hovered over.
Ooh.
And I'm thinking to myself,
she's open.
The Nocturne ultimate, paired in with Gragas ultimate, paired in with Yasuo's ultimate. So you can't even see who's being ulted to use the Kayle ulti on, unless it's Kayle.
True. That is definitely true, but Kayle likes to be relatively close up anyway, and you can always try and preempt it. It is going to make, for instance, a jungle fight even harder, because obviously Nocturne cuts out all the vision from the wards, and that means all the brushes are suddenly death traps to you, and if you're a squishy, you don't want to be anywhere near it. But if you're in that situation as Kayle, you can always ult yourself, and you're a massive damage threat that's not being focused out. Are they going to pick Tristana again?
Well, they are hovering over, and they're also hovering over Annie, who Kimmy was able to pick up that double kill fairly early on for 7 wars in that bottom lane. But Leona, Annie as well, I mean, wow.
Oh,
so we see Alistair being hovered over. But before we get to that, talk to us about Tristana and Leona real quick, because it's not like we see too often, but we know how strong Leona could be, and we saw how strong Essa is already on Tristana.
Leona Tristana is a lane where you go in. You go in very, very early on, and you have a lot of burst. It is a lane that fares extremely poorly if you fall behind, because Tristana will fall off in terms of her base damages. She won't scale up until quite late on into the game, and that means you just end up pushed up going to your tower. Leona can't do anything unless there's a gank situation. However, it can snowball really, really hard thanks to Tristana's huge base damages. Now, if you're comparing that to the Alistair pick, though, Leona is never going to be able to go in without risking, for instance, being booted into a gank or booted into the tower. That's dangerous.
And they have an interesting amount of CC over in Lion side with the Vi, the Renekton, of course, Alistair as well to pair that in with. They have a lot of damage, a lot of control, and 7 wars, and that's a fairly squishy lineup. That really is. They don't have that tanky top laner that, you know, we would expect to see against Renekton, and actually it looks like Xanthus will keep that in the top side of the map to go against a Porky. I think it works.
Top lane Yasuo tends to suffer early, but come back. You've got an Infinity Edge. You've got enough damage to kill anyone, no matter who they are. as long as you don't, is look at how many projectiles there are on Lyon. There are Jinx rockets, Jinx Zap, and Jinx bigger rocket, and that's it, other than Kale Q.
Yep, that is very true. And I mean, the thing is, we saw Yasuo used earlier on with the Pain Isris gaming, and it just did not work. The wind walls just didn't really seem to do anything, and I really want to see if he can use it a little bit better this time, or at least maybe dominate his lane, because he might really need to here. But between both compositions, what are you kind of seeing? What do we expect out of 7 Wars? Do they need to win early on? Do they need to win later on? Are we going to see Lyon push early aggression, or are they going to kind of look for more fights, middle game skirmishes?
It's a very mixed bag, actually, on both these parts. Both of these teams have potential to win, you know, mid-game and late game. Both of them are extremely strong in both of those phases of the game. And indeed, I'd say Lions might even be one of the best late-game comps you could have. But because there's Tristana, because you've got Gragas and Yasuo, 7 Wars is equally strong in that late game. The main swing in this game, I think, is going to be jungle pressure, because Crow on Nocturne may well have issues applying that pressure early on, making ganks happen. That does mean, obviously, that Sly has a lot of opportunities to do the reverse of that, to be really influential, to do a lot of damage early. But the lanes actually go the other way. So if Nocturne is able to get even, you know, one good counter gank off against Dyke, that could put them ahead.
Well, I will say this about Nocturne. He's one of my favorite junglers in the game.
She's discoing. It's Disco Inferno right here.
Yes, it is.
It also looks like she might be dying.
Well, hopefully for Yuri's sake and for any of you Lyon gaming fans out there, that won't actually be the case. But we're going to see Thag actually go ahead and start over towards his blue buff here. And we're actually going to see Crow start at his red buff. So it looks like both junglers will be able to visit this top lane around level 3 here. And definitely want to assume that, you know, if Park can get an early advantage, it's going to be definitely hard for Xanatans to really do anything against him, but also vice versa, depending on how this matchup really goes here.
Yeah, if you end up in a 3-on-3 situation, actually, in this top lane, thinking about it, I'm a little bit puzzled as to who's going to come out ahead, because Yasuo has a lot of damage and a lot of CC if he's ready for it, but I think most likely Crow won't have expected Vi to start at the blue buff, because that's fairly atypical nowadays. And you may actually see Vi be the one doing the counter ganking here. And if you could snowball Renekton against Yasuo, there's not a lot he can do against it.
Well, let's see how this game goes. You already saw Xanatans play really well earlier on. You saw Porky play his Mundo perfect down to a T. And I want to see how this game really develops. You're also in the bottom lane, because Alistair, we hardly ever see him. I mean, I think OGM was the last time I saw him I can recollect right now. And he's already being aggressive here, pushing Kimmy out. They do have sustain that, you know, 7 Wars doesn't have towards this bottom side of the map. Then again, Yasuo pushed the lane really quickly with that heal and with Alistair's passive right now, and he's looking to be aggressive. He's looking to hit level 2 here and actually go for the fight. And it looks like 7 Wars just going to back out, not let them get that opportunity, but they do get the pushback onto Essa over the wall. Not really intended.
Totally out of XP range. Worth it.
Totally worth it. Totally worth it. But let's see, he's forced to back away right after that, and we're going to have him actually start with a Doran Shield as well as Kimmy.
Yeah, Doran's shield start now is pretty much standard. You basically now need a reason to not go Doran's shield, because it gives you so much lane trading potential compared. If you're in a 2-on-2 for any length of time and you don't have that, you're basically screwed, and that's really, really bad.
Well, we're seeing Crow, he's looking for the counter gank here, as we do see Xanatans actually going really aggressive on a Porky, doing some good damage. And he's going to walk around towards his Tri-Bush. He's not spotted by a ward just yet, and we do see on the minimap, Thyak is over towards his double golem, so we're actually going to see them do this out right here. They're going to know what's going to happen, but do they feel confident to go for 2v2? We see him back away. We see the flash coming out of Xanatans, and he's forced to flash back to his teammate, but the ignite comes down, and he's getting dropped very low. The health pot is taken. He's actually still alive here, and we're going to see Crow pick up the first blood on the Porky. They have turned this around. Thyak is just running away, trying to survive. He's getting minion blocked out the wazoo, and he's able to escape here, but his flash is down, and they turn that gank completely around. Even Yuri came up from that middle lane to try to help out.
Yeah, Yuri actually, his presence is probably why they didn't pursue Vi any further. They may have been able to get the kill, maybe not, but it certainly wasn't worth risking Kale appearing and killing everyone who was left alive. Really nice stuff there, though, by Lyon, because they went in so quickly. The Crow, who was waiting to counter gank, actually just wasn't able to get there really when he was expecting to. And it's just that the actual fight didn't go their way.
Yeah, it was a great job as well. Porky just got slowed, he got feared up, he just couldn't chase him down. And also Xantans, I don't give him credit because he popped that health pot right when he realized, like, oh crap, I'm getting ganked, I need to stay alive here, and was able to just use that to keep himself quite healthy. But as you see in the bottom lane, Arizona not really able to do too great harass onto the enemy team with 7 wars, but CS is pretty much tied up here between both these teams' bottom.
Yeah, bottom lane, I'm not expecting much until a gank appears, which may happen quite soon, looking at the map right now, but neither side wants to go in on the other one in a 2-on-2 situation because they essentially come out worse. If you are Lyon and you go in, you get pulverized up, you get headbutted into a really bad position. If you are Alistair, though, and you go in, Lyon is going to counter-engage on your AD carry. So it becomes a farm lane, and they're actually both fantastic late-game AD carries anyway.
And Porky, I mean, he just got back to lane, and he wasn't the first death for Lyon, and Xantans was able to get the first blood, but you can see the trading potential out of Renekton was just completely able to outscale him right there, completely coming out ahead in that one. And we see Xantans going for that Vampiric Scepter to kind of get some sort of lane sustain right now. But just like I talked about before, 7 wars still really hesitant to go for an engage here. We do have, you know, Thyaki's in the vicinity to help out if he needs to. Crow is really not as close as he'd want to be, but it's been a really quiet game so far, and we kind of should expect that here in this best of 3 because the winner of this game goes on to play against the winner of Millennium and CNB.
Yeah, both of these junglers here have the potential. I mean, Vi has a little bit more potential early on than Nocturne, but the thing is, both of them are perfectly happy to just farm till 6, and none of the lanes right now are looking too easy to gank. I think Vi is thinking, I don't really want to gank, Yasuo because Nocturne seems to like to counter gank that area, so they're just going to be happy to leave it as it is and farm till 6. When they've got that 6, though, expect things to happen because both of them are huge and quite long cooldowns.
And that's when we get to hear the scariest sound or the most fun sound ever, depending on what team you're on out of Nocturne, using that darkness to really get into a fight. And I'd imagine middle is like the only lane who'd really want to gank with that, since top lane is just so damn tanky and bottom lane has such great escapes. But you're seeing a little bit of harass come out of 7 wars. They seem to be getting a little bit more comfortable here, maybe favoring their chances a little bit more here. And you can see, look at the AD carries. Both still have their health pots. That's kind of showing you how little harass both these teams have been playing there.
Yeah, there's just no point in them trying. They will both be unable to make an all-in happen, both be unable to make any harassment stick, apart from just, you know, casually doing it in order to keep people honest. So, as you mentioned before, I think mid lane is probably going to be the focus post level 6. Yasuo maybe will get ganked again, but it's very, very tempting to go for a Kayle when you've got Gragas there with the ultimate to set up.
And I like what we're seeing actually out of Brewster as well, because he started backing in range of Lyon. So they knew he was backing away. Obviously, Lyon knows that Crow started over towards that red buff, so they know he's going to be over towards the top side of the map when that happens, and it'll most likely be level 6. But also gives Brewster the time to buy up, get back to lane, be there in time to able to protect that blue buff. But right now, we're seeing Crow actually head down towards the bottom side. He's actually not going to be going for his blue buff here, and he's looking for a gank bottom. He's right by the tri-bush. I'm not sure why you would necessarily just stop right there. You might as well just walk through it because you're going to be seeing if there's a ward there. But he's looking for a fight here. They're looking for a kill to see it, but instead, he's just going to back away, just going to go back to farming here. And that blue buff's still up right now. I'm actually surprised that he's leaving it up this long because they know right now that, you know, Brewster's still middle. He hasn't picked up his blue just yet. Yuri has his. There's got to be something up here.
Yeah, there is actually some action in the bottom lane.
Yeah, we do see Sia actually go in onto Kimmy right there. Kimmy's being forced away. He's actually getting tracked down really well. He actually uses the Octane ultimate used mostly defensively as he's trying to go for the engage here, but the range is just too short. But either way, just that aggression, ultimate being used, forces them to back out, and it keeps Kimmy alive. But that is a big ultimate to lose out on if you are a Crow.
Yeah, I think Nocturne Ultimate is going to be significantly longer cooldown as well than Assault and Battery. I will just double check that fact. But yeah, there's about a 30-second window now where Vi is going to be able to make a gank happen regardless of what happens. Essentially, even if Nocturne is there to counter gank 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 situation, they will come out on top. I would love to see Thyak try and take advantage of that, but there may not be an opportunity.
Yeah, definitely may not. And right now we see the Crow heading over towards his blue. We see Thyak heading over towards his red, and we're finally going to see Brewster pick up his blue here. And I have to give him credit. You know, considering being a Gragas into a Kayle lane, he's been doing a fantastic job of farming, currently with a 10 CS lead.
Yeah, that's pretty good, because the way Gragas versus Kayle tends to go is you usually end up with the Gragas falling behind a little bit early, but then ganks start happening. Kayle starts dying because of the Gragas ult. But if you're already ahead, that gives you a lot of potential.
Well, there's the first kill that I have missed of the game. Bottom lane, we do No, did not see Essa get killed. And that will be finally a break in the wall here for Lyon, actually able to finally push out and get the kill onto someone here. And that might have given them a nice strong advantage. He did return back to lane with that BF sword, which might exactly be why he was able to pick up the kill. But what is Essa going to return with? And it looks like only that Avarice Blade at the moment, unless he's waiting for that BF sword.
Yeah, I'm a little bit puzzled if it's only an Avarice Blade, because that seems, oh, full Shiv. He just wants to keep the push up. He just continued. It's what we saw in the first game. Tristana shoving up to tower continually makes it very, very difficult to engage upon him. And also gives you an edge in the lane rotations later. The problem with that build is, though, you have very little team fight damage. I mean, it's almost irrelevant the amount that Tristana will do, you know, in that level 10-ish doldrum period without a major actual damage item.
I was actually curious what he was leveling as well. He's going for his explosive shot, his E. So I was wondering if he's going for his quick draw or his Q, then they would actually be able to maybe trade to have a lot of attack speed, but he's not going for that. We do see a lot of pings happening over towards Dragon currently, and it looks like neither team's going to go for it just yet, but I mean, Bruce, he's still just farming away 179 CS. He's been getting such nice advantage here, and I really think it's going to be scary when these team fights break out.
Yeah, it's actually a very, very smart call for Lyon to go for this Dragon right now. Takes advantage of the Shiv. As I mentioned before, relatively low damage from Tristana in that situation. Actually looks like Bruce might try and steal it, but that's not going to be easy to do because he's now thrown his Q. They can delay. He's not going to be able to steal that. Will they look for a fight after?
Well, we just see that Smite land in. We just have Lyon pick up the first Dragon of the game. I was thinking maybe Crow will use his ultimate and get in there to try to do a drive-by steal like in the videos I used to make back for Rift Miss, but instead they let that one go. They retain only a 500 deficit here in Lyon, able to get a little bit of a lead right now, but will they be able to roll with it? Will they be able to make something happen off of it? That's the real question, and I believe we're going to get that answer coming very soon because we see that he's busy bottom. They do get the knock-up on the Essa. He gets hit with the solid battery. He's not going to escape. He's going to go down, or will he? He's still alive. They do end up picking up the kill on the Thyak, and a great engage, a great initiate out of Ner'zhul.
That pulverize in the middle of the jump is one of the ways that Tristana has slight problems. Because of the delay on the jump, you can time it to do that intentionally. And Alistair did a brilliant job.
And we do see that use that Q to kind of escape right there. Not going to get caught. But that is another kill coming in for the bottom lane of Lyon, and that's a fantastic job. And it seems like they definitely have woken up where 7 Wars in their first game, they had a huge advantage over the other team at this point. And right now, they just kind of are getting pushed around at this point. And we can take a look at gold real quick because I was curious. Porky hasn't bought in a long time, but he's sitting on 2,500 gold to spend. And right now, Kimmy, he's getting caught here. I'm not sure if he can escape this one. He's going to get actually knocked back into the Tri-Wash. You do see Nacho coming. He's actually going to be able to support him here with the fear on the thigh. But now has Crow. Is he going to be the one to die? He actually runs straight into the trap out of Jinx, forced to flash over the wall. And Kimmy does stay alive, but here comes Trogus in from the side. He gets pushed away. The barrel not going to be in the right position. He has ult. He actually knocks Alistair back towards his team, and he's trying to escape as the taser unfortunately misses for Sia. So throughout all of that, nothing really happening, no kills coming in, but a lot of ultimates, a lot of summoners used across the board. In the meantime, top lane, Porky's going in for the kill, but Xantins picks that one up, and a 1v1. And I think that was a fantastic job by Xantins to realize that Porky has not bought in a long time. If I'm going to fight, I need to do it soon. Because look what he's coming back to lane with now. Ninja Tabbies, Giant's Belt, and a Chain Vest.
But by this point, Xantins may be trapped in that lane for a while yet. He's not going to be able to take the tower, but that really, really doesn't matter that much. He's farmed enough now that the timing on his own Shiv, on his own IE, although I'm curious what he's going to do with that Vamp Scepter, by the way, is not going to be that delayed. And once he's got those items, I said it before, he's going to be a massive, massive threat in a way that Renekton, he's a much slower burn threat.
The only thing that he has to worry about, though, is the fact that who's going to facilitate the Nagas on his team? Yes, he has his own, obviously. The only other one is Gragas, so it's going to take, I guess, a little bit of coordination, but I mean, 7 Wars have proven already in the first game and the second one that they definitely have the ability to do that. But right now, I'm going to take a look at items that have been built across the board for both these teams. We see that shift coming in momentarily for Xantins, almost able to pick that one up full out. We see the Chalice done on Bruce here. It looks like he's going for that Athenes and Holy Grail. Static Shift still the only thing done for Essa, as we have the Bloodthirster come in for Seer right there. And then according to the junglers, I want to say pretty much even, but we do see Thag actually going for a little bit of a different route.
If you're gonna go for that delayed jungle item, that really signals you need ganks happening. But actually, another fight in the bot.
Yeah, they do actually push Kimmy away right there, and they're not really too confident to go for that engagement. They will be a little bit overextended, but you can see Thyak is heading down from middle, looking for a fight here as well. As Yuri coming in from the side, they have him zoned out a little bit here. In fact, he does have his assault and battery open, or up, sorry. He's actually kind of just back away, not going over the fight just yet. Not really feeling too confident with the lead they have, because it's only about 700 gold right now. They're definitely looking in the driver's seat. They're definitely forcing Seven Wars to react to them. They're the ones being proactive about this.
Yeah, and it feels to me actually at the moment that the sole reason that that's not gonna be the end of them essentially for Seven Wars is that Yasuo is doing pretty well in this top lane. He will farm himself up to be a huge threat. It's actually a really fun little point of comparison between the two compositions while we keep an eye on the bot lane, because that might blow up in a second.
There it is. They go straight in on it. I'm not sure if that's the target they want to hit, but he knocks him back. It makes it so the trap does land, but we do see him actually go down to the hands of Noctur as Crow is able to make that one happen, and they're still chasing him down. Nerzel, he has the ultimate run. He's going to be able to get feared here momentarily. They do have the red buff. We see Kel coming from the top, so he's going to get his ultimate available to use. He actually puts it on the C as Crow getting so low. No, Brewster knocks him in straight into him, and he goes down. Now Yuri's low in health. He's going to fall. Essa with the barrier pop. It looks like he might be able to survive here. He's attacking, trying to sustain, and we see the double kill coming from Brewster, and they turn it around. 1 death for 4 kills.
That is a huge windfall for them, and it completely means they're now well ahead. It's not going to lead to many major objectives. They were pushed up, not going to be able to take the towers as a result, but that next dragon is going to come up soon. They can get complete ward control over it if they want to, and they have the opportunity to go back themselves. With the gold advantage they now have, with the fact that Yasuo, who is a major threat, and Renekton obviously not so much of one, they will probably try and rotate him down in time for that. They've got basically all the time they need to prepare.
And I think one thing we can't really ignore is the fact of the morale boost they get within the team, where they were looking so down on themselves, it seemed. So they lost that last game. They won the first one just so stylish, so easily. They weren't able to replicate that result in the second game, but to have that kind of victory right there, to have 2 kills on Xantins, to have 2 kills over to Crow, to have 2 kills over to Brewster, and those 4 assists over to Essa. I mean, they're starting to spread the kills out really well, and they're starting to become really hard to deal with currently. And we see Porky, he was heading, Commentator's Curse, was heading down towards Dragon, which will be up in about 19 seconds here. And it looks like Lyon, they want to make a play for it.
The problem if Renekton goes bottom, unlike Yasuo, is Yasuo will take his tower very, very quickly. If Yasuo, however, actually no, they noticed that he's gone back. That's actually, I do not agree with that from Xantins. But Renekton, if he had gone straight to that dragon area, Lyon would not have been able to easily take that dragon because of the Gragas poke, and Yasuo would have been able to take the tower up top, so it would have been a roughly equal exchange. But as it happens, partly I've got to say, because Xantins just backed there, they're not going to take any real reward for that.
And the thing is, Seven Wars, they have the timer on it. They had a word on it last time. They knew it was being done. They saw it happening. And yet they just all were in position, but they're going for a 5-man siege here. They're going straight for the turret. It's already low on health, and they just force Lyon straight back. They're scared of that Leona initiate mixed in with the Nocturne ultimate, which will be up momentarily. They're not done just yet. They see Yuri bottom. They're going to go for this turret as well. They're getting some good damage onto it. But after Yuri being gone from bottom for a little bit of time, they do finally back away. But not before they do get 1 turret and keep that gold lead in their favor.
Slightly puzzling reaction from Yuri there. It looked like when he was going down there, he was confident that his team could hold against that 5-man versus 4-man siege. It is relatively early in the game. It is an inner tower. I would happen to agree with that call. But the moment he saw them back away, like instantly, he just ran. He didn't want to carry on pushing. He didn't want to apply pressure. He didn't want to force anyone down to that bottom lane because he was frightened of dying. But he knew where they were. He knew how long it would take them to get there. That's a call that I just can't agree with.
Well, obviously they're the only ones to really know why they did that one, but Fortune for Lyon, they're still far, or not far, but they're still behind in this game. And let's take a look at IEMs real quickly, because they have started to develop a little bit. We finally see Essa going towards a little bit of damage, going for those Berserker Greaves and that BF sword. And we also see across the board for both teams that a lot of major IEMs are being completed. We're at that point in the game where they can really start to turn tides of fights.
Yeah, major items at the moment. Looking towards the first major AD damage item for Tristana, and getting that Bloodthirster on Jinx. Those are huge, huge items for those two. Once the Lich Bane is completed on Kayle, I think that is going to be when Lyon are going to really start looking for fights, because that item is incredibly good on that.
Yeah, I love seeing the different builds of Kayle. Like, that's why I like her as a champion, is the fact that you could go for the attack speed. You know, like we used to see the Leandri's Natural Tooth kind of build. You can go for burst damage like Shusha used to do backwards on Dragon Boards with the Death Cap and the Void Staff. or you can see this kind of build with the Lich Bane and the Asher 2 to try to go for that ridiculous on-hit spike damage that we already saw Esther take quite a bit off of. I mean, he's down to about a third life from just one little combo off of Yuri by that turret, and he's almost dead. And that shows how much damage he's going to do. And I really want to see how this fight, or this game does progress here, because we're about 20 minutes in, and it's really not in favor of either team just yet.
Yeah, there are kind of some slight edges going both ways. I've got to say, I like the fact now for Lyon that Jinx is going to be stronger than Tristana at this point. There's no question about it. She scales up faster, and late game, arguably, she's a little bit weaker, but right now, she's definitely a lot stronger. The flip side of that, though, is that Lyon, Porky, he's not doing brilliantly. Yasuo is going to be a bigger threat than him. But the flip side of that is that Kayle is going to do more sustained damage than Gragas. So there's so many kind of odds and sods. It's impossible to call a fight ahead of time. And so much of it's going to come down to execution, catches, and lane rotation. Speaking of which, Gragas is actually, no worries about it. He's just going to... I thought he might get entrapped there because Jinx was kind of circling around him on the map, but he just walked out.
That's probably like the most mobile fat man I've ever seen in my life. It looks like he weighs like 10 pounds, how quick he's able to run around. But we see 4 men grouping up towards the bottom of the map at a 7 worst here. And obviously, it's going to be hard to dive a Kayle and an Alistar, but that turret's already very low in health, and you see them trying to want to commit this. But the top side, we do see Xantis actually get caught here. He's not going to survive this one as he does get chipped down, but he does commit Diak's ultimate off of that. And I really wonder what are Summoners going to do about this, because they're going to lose their top turret. They do get bottom. Nocturne goes straight into the backside, straight onto Yuri. He's going to get the fear off, but it actually flashes straight out of it. They go straight for Essa. They do get the kill out, but not before he gets the slow jumping on top of him. There's 1-for-1 trade so far. Here comes Dragosin to the side. That's going to be another kill, and they're going to pick up the turret and the kill off of that for a trade on the top side of 1 death and 1 turret as well.
That gank on the top lane set everything in motion there. It meant that Lyon knew they needed to take, so that they could take that top tower because no one would have been able to rotate there in time to stop them. They knew they were, as a result, sorry, 7 Ward knew that they could dive that bottom lane because they had Leona in the area, they had Nocturne in the area. It was a 4-man gank. But I think Lyon have come out ahead basically just because Jinx is sat in the mid lane. Yeah, somehow, I don't actually know how she got there from bottom lane, but regardless, she was there.
She was actually mid the whole time.
She was mid the whole time.
Yeah, so
it was Kayle in the bot lane.
Oh, we see it get caught right there by the Gragas ultimate. Actually uses the flash, uses the barriers. Actually, it will survive here. They're not able to chase him down. Just like Yasuo coming from the side. Does he have the knockup? He goes straight for Porky here instead. Does quite a bit of damage. Also, Porky trying to juke them out. He will go down as Xantis. And right now, Fi gets caught. Gets the ultimate for Xantis. Look at the damage that just came down top of him. He gets the ultimate out of Kayle. He's going to survive from that. It'll chase them away, but they do get that one crucial kill on the Porky. They do force Diak back. They force a lot of summoners out of the hands of Lyon. And will they go for Baron off of this?
That's a risky call for them to make. If they go for it, it's a brave one because Alistar will jump into the middle of this if he finds out about it. They can follow it up. They have got Kayle. Vi will be back in before too long, and that Baron does not drop quickly when you don't have that much damage at this stage of the game.
But Kayle doesn't have ultimate available. They're trying to force them away. They do fall off of Baron. It's still being done down to 3,000 health, down 2,000 health. Ner'zhul actually misses his knockup, and they're going to go for the Baron. Will they get the smite on top of it? They're backing out. Fights freaking out everywhere as Kimmy does catch Jinx in the backside. Back comes in! He steals the Baron, but it doesn't matter. The damage is done. They're going to lose 3 people. He's not going to pick up a kill off that. He's going to drop his hand. This is still chasing down Ner'zhul on the top side. He's going to get the kill. He's got to be careful because Porky is still there. They pick up the 4. They lose the Baron, but in the end, so worth it because now they get the Baron down middle lane and push through some turrets. He's going straight on a Porky now. He's not even afraid of him. He has that red buff, and he's just forcing him out, making it so he can't even defend his turret. He might even be able to pick up the kill. There's the ultimate. There comes the Nocturne from the side with it, as well as Kimmy. He's going to drop. There's going to be an ace. Oh! No! He gets the slice and dice. He's going to escape, but they're still chasing him.
So much time!
No! They don't get it. They're going to get a middle turret off of it, but I think that's just about it. They might have been able to pick up the inhibitor turret if they didn't chase him down.
They could have had an inhibitor turret. They could have had potentially even, if they wanted to play it a little bit safer, the dragon, which was there. They could maybe even have turned around and tried to... wait, no, it's not even out. They could not, like, possibly have gotten a worse trade, having been in that situation with Renekton getting out alive, with the whole team respawning before they could do any huge damage. And that kind of resets us again, because now 7 Wars haven't got a definitively huge advantage. This dragon is going to Lyon.
They will... Oh, I would say Xantis picked up. No, he got a top turret, so that dragon will go over to Lyon, but Xantis did pick up the top lane, gave them a little bit of extra gold here. We're all tied up here in turrets, 4-4, 40.3 thousand gold to the 38.8 thousand on Lyon's side. 13 of 5 in kills. The kills don't really reflect the true nature of the game so far because of the amount of dragons that Lyon has been able to take, but that last fight getting insane. We even see Crow going for that frozen heart right now. And items are being completed left to right. I want you to walk us through what you see, because we see a lot of major items completed for everyone on the team.
Well, okay. Most important thing, I think, for items is now Kayle has the Lich Bane, has the Nash's Tooth. She is now a completely unignorable damage threat. Yasuo has gone for a Blade of the Ruined King and a ship, which is an unusual build choice. But it will give him lifesteal. It will make him a little bit harder to focus out in team fights. And that's quite important when you're against so much hard crowd control. At the same time, that Frozen Heart on Nocturne is going to make it a lot harder, if you think about it from the perspective of Lyon, to really output the damage they need, not only on Crow himself, but at all, because that aura is going to gimp Jinx, it's going to gimp Kayle, it's going to be cutting down their damage hugely overall, which means it's a really, really important choice.
Yeah, very true, and he's limiting so much damage, just like you said, with that item. As you see, Porky, he is getting shredded apart because that last wisp that Denson was able to pick up, he just does not care. And that is Porky going down. That opens up a push. But look, in the meantime, look what Lyon are doing. They're going for push down middle. They're actually second-guessing themselves. They're starting to back away. But you see on the mini-map, 7 wars, they started to back as they saw Lyon pushing. But when they noticed they were going to stop doing that, they're going to continue to push his top side. And Crow, he's the man to defend it, to keep them from falling back. And that will be another turret going over for 7 wars.
Both teams thought it was a bad idea to try and base race, but the fact that Lyon decided to back off and Nocturne found them and stopped the recall, it just means they've lost another couple of major objectives. They could even potentially lose this tower. Porky's not up yet.
Oh, Nerezli goes in and try to get that engage on. You see Xantix doesn't really take that much from Kayle right there, and they're starting to back away. The Notch ultimate just used defensively. Porky has respawned in, but they're still able to take the turret lead here. They're able to get a little bit more of a lead overall in terms of gold. And this is getting really dangerous for Lyon. They are so close to slipping to the point where they will lose this game. They will be out of Intel Extreme Master Sao Paulo, and we will see 7 Wars advance on to play against the winner of Millennium and CNB.
Jason, they're being pushed back on their heels at this point. They keep coming out slightly behind, and I feel that might be what's affecting the mentality of their decisions. I think that might be why they retreated from the base race, even though they have Jinx, who is Tower Destroyer #1.
Ooh, Gragas, he is being very, very greedy right now. Oh my god! He lowers the back with the body slam and the flash, and the ultimate knocks away the rest of life for doing anything. But Sia's attacking Crow as she gets engaged upon by Yasuo. He doesn't get the kill just yet. He does get forced away. He's so low on life. He's gonna escape right there, but they're not judged just yet. Kenny picks up the kill to Sia. Ezza comes back over the wall with the rocket jump, and then the knockup on a Nerezli. He's not gonna escape. That is gonna be 4 kills for Zero Test by 7 Wars. Look how damn low they are, but they're gonna push us. They're gonna get an inhibitor off of it.
It's an inhib at the very, very least, and they might actually be able to take like the second one. It depends if they can regen up enough to tank another tower. Yasuo is actually going to go bot lane. They know they don't need any more than the 4 men here. They will take that inner tower on the bottom side, and they'll take the mid inhib. They've suddenly put themselves well ahead on map pressure, and the Baron won't be far off.
And you just talked about, the Frozen Heart and how effective it can be. And if you look at how low on everyone's 7 Wars is, if that Frozen Heart wasn't there, I wonder if this fight would have been completely different in favor of Lyon, because that attack speed decrease onto the 3 major damage dealers from Lyon just completely, I want to say, save them.
And the broken, messy kind of fight, that's where your attack speed becomes the most important. That's when the sustained damage of Kayle and Jinx becomes the most important thing, because you've got so much time to output it. Having a 20% decrease on that for the entire duration, that becomes more significant proportionally than it ever would normally.
All right, well, we're 28.5 minutes in here. I think we're finally going to have a little bit of a breather right now. We can slow it down a little bit because Baron, about a minute respawn on that. You have about a minute on Dragon as well. People pretty much have, I don't want to say full builds, but majority of their full core item builds finished for both teams right now. And 7 Wars have been winning these last couple of engages. They're now up about 6,000 gold as well. And we're getting to the point where Baron, that's going to be the next point. That's going to be the decider of this game. And last time, Theric was able to steal it away.
Last time he was able to steal it away, but it was such a close thing. I don't think he actually got it with his smite that time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, he did not. He did not. He smited a little bit earlier, but he still got it in the end. But it cost him 4 people.
Yeah.
Corki was the only one to retain it, and then he ended up losing it not that much later to Zentens.
Yeah, it was a very clutch situation, and it could have gone, if the Baron buff had gone the other way, which would be so easy if you've missed your smite already, that would have been disastrous. In the next Baron fight, though, it's much more likely to be on equal terms. Lyon will have to contend with the mid lane push, but they can stay in the mid lane, keep the minions pushed up, and not worry about their other side lanes. Obviously, we are now in the 2014 season, so the patch changes means they don't have to be concerned about continually pushing the side lanes. Now, that means, of course, they can then contest properly for the Baron, because they can rotate in very, very easily. There's going to be a lot of wards thrown over the wall, I think.
Yeah, a lot indeed, and right now there's no teleport on either team to really kind of split push the style right now, and you see 7 Awares, they want to go for it, they're edging for it. They don't know where Yuri is, who's actually in the back of the space, but they're actually starting that Baron up because you keep an eye on his health, as it's already down about 8,000 life. It's dropping very, very fast with the rest of the line. They're trying to make their way in there. Alice, you can get a beautiful knock if he just hits it on the right targets. Baron down to 2,000 health. You see Thag, he wants to get over the wall. They stop the damage. Thag is now in. They get the Baron. 7 Awares able to maintain it. Thag is actually going to use ult to try to escape here. Bruce just completely pushes everyone on the other team out of the fight, and you see Lyon dropping one by one. See, the ultimate out of KO isn't enough to keep him alive. And 7 Awares, even with that beautiful knockup out of Nerysol, they're going to take the ace off of that. They're going to take Baron, and they're going to take the game.
That is a huge fight for them. I don't feel like Lyon should have tried to go for the steal. They should have just gone for the engage, but Thyrak was on the wrong side of the wall. He had to jump in and try and steal, but it was a very, very difficult contest. He was lower, I believe, on the level front as well.
And there goes the first Lixer turret, there goes the second, 7 Awares, and their debut here at Intel Extreme Master Sao Paulo. You can see on their faces, you can see on the crowd and how much it meant to them. They go 2-1 over Lyon Gaming to advance into the semifinals to play the winner of Millennium in C&B, and honestly, fantastic games played from both these teams. None of them could come out with their heads held down.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely not going to be doing that. So, both teams performed brilliantly in that last game, but they just weren't able to compare to one another, and a couple of key mistakes from Lyon Gaming towards the end just started to really encroach on their skills.
And you can see the crowd. I mean, it's standing room only right now. I'm not sure how many are out there, but it sounds like there's at least a couple thousand. It's so ridiculously loud. I'm sure you guys at home can hear that as well, but credit to 7 Awares. I mean, we talked to the coach beforehand. He was saying they're so nervous. The stage nerves are really getting to them. The first game, it didn't look like they had any of that. It looked like they've been doing this for years. The second game, it kind of hit them a little bit tough, but once they got the momentum going in that last game, they really ramped it up, finishing 23-5. And just to give you an idea of what the scores were for that one, we were a little bit interested to see, you know, the Yasuo Renekton top lane. Zentens finished 7-1-8 in that exchange. We had a 5-0-8 Brewster on Gragas middle, 5-1-11 on Crow as Nocturne. And, you know, Essa, who did such a great job on Tristana, didn't have a terrible game, but he was only 4-3-13. And I say only, but he just, his ultimates, his position fights were just so well, and it helped make Lyon overextend so many times.
Yeah, and Gragas